Will express entry points ever go back down? Are you asking yourself that question? Do you not have enough express entry points and you're wondering if you should just hang it out? Hopefully they'll come down. When I was in the express entry pool back in 2015, my score was about 490 and the draw was 450 on that call. It was a Good Friday and it was in September and they were like, hey, everybody 450 and above, express entry points. Right now, since the last 2 months, express entry points have been up, up, up. Here's a quick understanding of what's happening so you can set yourself up whether you want to sit down and wait or try another option. So, I want you to understand, especially if you're interested in express entry, is that the Canadian government uses immigration to fill labor shortages. And they've gotten a lot more intelligent and strategic about that in the last year or so. Before, it was kind of like, oh, we need people. Okay, let's bring some people. And I mean, some of these things are going to be trial and error anyway. It's business. It's just like a business idea, a business opportunity. Sometimes it's trial and error to see what works and what does not work. So they're like, all right, we need people. You know what? Oh, I'm frying plantain, guys. So hopefully it don't burn up. Anyways, so they're like, oh, we need people, bring people. And then they're realizing, oh, wait a second. We have people, but just people weren't our problem. We need these kinds of people. Here, now they've gotten more intelligent, and this is where they came in with a category-based draws for express entry. So they figured out now, okay, we need healthcare people. We need trades people. We need science, technology, engineering, and math people. We need transportation people. That's really who we need. How do we go into the pool of everybody who wants to come to Canada and pick out just the ones that we need, really? So they've developed on a federal level. So federal is all of Canada. And on a provincial level, provincial is each state in Canada. So Ontario versus Alberta versus the other states that we call provinces in Canada. So there's federally, they've identified, okay, here are labor shortages across Canada. Let us design programs around these labor shortages. Also, here are the underpopulated areas in Canada. Let's design programs around these underpopulated areas and around the labor shortages. So they've designed programs like the Atlantic Immigration Program, which was a pilot program they were just testing to see if it would work. The Rural and Northern Immigration Program, which is also a pilot program that they have now extended, which we're pretty sure think that it's going to become permanent. And then, of course, the provincial nominee programs, which are on a provincial level, but it kind of was introduced to by the government to say, okay, on a provincial level, you guys can attract talent that your province needs. Then within the province and within the provincial nominee programs, they are targeting specific industries, specific types of jobs, and really targeting and trying to plug the hole in the labor shortage gap. Right? And so they've gotten a lot more strategic about immigration. Immigration has evolved. And now what we're seeing is that, okay, here are the categories and the labor shortages that we need to focus on. It doesn't mean that we don't want other people who are not in these industries to come to Canada, because at some point there are maybe other industries that could move towards labor shortages if these are the only people that they're bringing, right? So they'll bring the labor shortages people, but they still want other people. So here's what's happening with express entry right now, right? So if you notice in the category-based draws, healthcare, French, the points are lower. The French language draw that was in February, 365. Yesterday, they did, yesterday being February the 14th, they did a healthcare draw, 422. And if we go down the list, right, let us just start in the last, since December, right? General draw, up there, up, right? Every general draw, in the 500 them, yeah, 561. What? Where am I going with this? Right? And it looks like it might be trending down, but not really, because of course they have to scrape off what is left of the express entry pool. So here's what's happening, right? Low score in the French draws. Low scores in the French draws. Agri-food, low scores. So within the specific categories, they're picking out the upper echelon of those categories. You know what that means, right? It means that everybody else left in the express entry pool, they just need to skim off the top. You know, the whipped cream on top of the coffee, or the whipped cream on top of your latte, or whatever the case is. They just need to skim the top for the creme de la creme of the group to bring in other high-skilled professionals that will contribute just the same. But when express entry was kind of designed, it was thinking about the people in Canada who are most likely to succeed. So of the general pool now, aside from the labor shortages and the specific programs, the Atlantic Immigration Program, Rural and Northern, all of that stuff, those programs are fine for the people who fit the bill. Everybody else, creme de la creme. So will express entry points ever come down? I don't think so. I don't think so in the next 1 to 2 years, maybe. And if it comes down, it might be an act of, okay, we need to fit the cap. So maybe close to the end of the year, but we thought that was going to happen last year. It did not. In fact, they went the opposite direction, 561. Right? So if they're trying to fill a cap or whatever the case is, or if they identify other labor shortages, they'll do that. But for right now, what should be your plan? If you find that you're in the express entry pool, you're not in a special category, you're not in any specific category, and your points are too low, right? And you don't fit the bill for any of the category-based draws, you need to be looking elsewhere, okay? You need to be looking at the other programs that are targeting not just labor shortages, but also low population, small population. Population is too small. We're not focusing on any industry. We're not focusing on any labor gap or whatever. And most of them are. Most of them do have certain occupations that they try to target, especially in the rural and northern in some of those cities. But on a general scale, it is better for you to target one of those programs. And the benefit of targeting one of those programs is it is a direct path to permanent residency. When you get through with the Atlantic Immigration Program or the Rural and Northern Program, what you're doing is applying for permanent residency. Express entry is like a lotto, but a more strategic lotto where you can improve your chances of actually being picked. Sort of. However, the other and you're kind of in the pool, you're swimming around and you're waiting for somebody to throw the hook and hook you out of the pool. When you go through Atlantic Immigration, when you go through Rural and Northern, you are targeting specifically the road to permanent residency. It's not a dream. It's not a promise. It's not a maybe, unless you have some extenuating circumstances and you have a very bad application and it gets rejected. It is an application for permanent residency. Provincial nominee is not an application for permanent residency, okay? It is provincial nominee. Getting an LMIA is not a direct path to permanent residency either, because LMIA means maybe you get enough points to then fit into the express entry pool, and you only get 50 points for LMIA. When express entry started, LMIA used to give you 600 points. Now you get 50 points for an LMIA. So it not really matter if you get a work permit to come here unless you're trying to run off, which I don't recommend. It's not a direct path to permanent residency. So if you're in the pool swimming around, at the bottom of the pool because your points low, try another option. Strategically, you get as strategic as the government is getting with who they are targeting, who they are inviting, and who they want, and try to align where you are with the programs that exist that will be to your benefit. Don't try and swim upstream. I'm not saying to come out of the pool. Don't come out of the pool. Stay in the pool. You never know, the system might glitch. But don't bank on that, right? That's kind of banking on luck. It's kind of gambling, especially if you have low points in the 300s or even in the 400s. By the look of it right now, 400 is not even a good score for the general pool. The planting. A little bit charred. Just a little bit charred. You can smell a little bit of charness, but it's okay. It's for a good cause. I'll put this in the video. I'll go watch it because I make my planting bar. I'll watch it. So get strategic. Get as strategic as the government is getting with their plan, especially if you are already in Canada, right? Don't let your status expire. Don't let something come and you just haven't figured it out, because there are far too many options. And it's not a case where you don't need to know everything. You don't need to go and do all the research. Just get proper help to do it. Get proper help to do it, and understand that it is not an overnight. Success is not an overnight process. Finding a job in one of these other programs is not an overnight process. And some people are losing patience, and they're not necessarily believing in it because they're sending out resumes and they're not getting any answers. If you're sending out resumes and not getting any answer, you are doing something wrong. So, Husa and Satanama, get strategic, okay? I want to point you towards the Atlantic Immigration Program, and they've just extended the Rural and Northern Immigration Program. So let us look at that as well. Atlantic Canada has a list of 1,200 employers on the designated list. Now, the problem with that list is that it's just a list of employers. And unless employers have an obvious name, like As Told by Canadian Immigrants, where you know what it's about, they have it like Ginger Corp. What does Ginger Corp do? Is it cookies? Is it supermarket? No, it's a design agency or something like that, right? So they don't have any obvious names. So you don't know what industry they're in. You don't know if they have, like, they align with your skills, and you don't know who's hiring or if they're even hiring, because of the 1,200, not all of them are hiring. So what I've done for you is I've gone through the list. This is a service that I used to provide by a third party, and now the list is back. The job list for jobs in Atlantic Canada is back, and it is available for you. We added 44 jobs to the list this week, and each week we're checking to see what's available, what more is available, what's not available anymore, and all these wonderful things. So go ahead, click the link, check out what's available for you. Of course, it is a paid service, guys. I'm paying to get this done. I'm putting the work in to get this done. Don't just want free. If you want it to be free, don't click the link. If you want it to be free, go to the list of designated employers and go through the list and figure out who is hiring and apply to the jobs. If you can't find time to do that, or if you're doing that and you're not being successful at it, understanding that some of the designated employers only want Canadian citizens too, when you figure that out on your own, come back, get the list that I'm working on for you. Putting a lot of work and effort into creating this for you so that you guys don't have to go and do it yourself, because I know how. I have the skills, and I am putting the skills together and helping you guys to make it easier for you guys to go and find these jobs and then go through and apply for them. Okay, so will express entry points ever come down? I don't think so. Sorry. But within the category-based jobs, they are certainly relatively lower. And if you can identify where you are in any of these occupations, you're in good standing. If you don't know how to find your NOC code, book a coaching call. Let's search through together. If you don't know what category-based jobs are, you need to catch up on some of these videos. That's it from me. I'm gonna eat my plantain now. Yeah. Foreign plantain. That's it from me. I appreciate you every time you come here and watch your videos. I appreciate you also when you hit the like button and help people know that this is worth watching. And I appreciate when you subscribe, stick around, and I would love to see you in the next video. Bye for now.